Now, for today's video, we will learn about the 6 principles of teaching general language arts. But before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Mr. Romel Pancual Calvario from Camarines Norte State College, handling VED students or the future educators. So, this lesson will introduce different principles that we are using in the field of teaching. So let us watch and learn. Our topic is about general principle in language art teaching. We have ELOs, or the intended learning outcomes. At the end of the rating period, students should be able to identify teaching principles in language art teaching and also explain how these principles are used in teaching. So this learning outcome is very important to measure whether you learn something about the general principle in language art teaching. So this is our introduction. Language is basis of all communication and primary instrument of thought. Thinking, learning, and language are interrelated. Language is governed by rules and system. Language conversation, which is used to explore and communicating meaning, defines culture, which is essential in understanding oneself or the personal identity, forming personal relationship or socialization, extending experience, reflecting on thought and action, and contributing to better society. Language, therefore, is central to all people, intellectual, social, and emotional development, and has an essential role in all key learning areas. Language is the foundation of all human relationships. All human relationships are established on the ability of people to communicate effectively with each other. Our thoughts, values, and understanding are developed and expressed through language. This process allows students to understand better the world in which they live and contribute to all development in their personal perspective of the global community. People use language to make sense and bring order to their world. Therefore, proficiency in language enables people to access and to keep abreast of information, to engage with the wider and more diverse community, and to learn about the role of language in their own lives and their own and other cultures. So based on the introduction given, how language is very important to communicate with each other and to become contributors and to engage with their diverse community also. So here is our essential questions. What are the most important English as a second language or the ESL teaching principles? Next, how can English teachers better serve their students? So this question will initially answered after we discuss these lessons about general principle in teaching language. So principle number 1, know your learners. English teachers should understand the students' personal educational background so they can tailor classes according to their students' needs more effectively. Learning about students' culture, first language, and past experiences are useful while preparing lesson plans, materials, and projects. So this principle is very important for us as a teacher to be familiar with our learners so that we can able to prepare what is the best and effective way in delivering learning to our dear pupils, or what we call learners. Now let us proceed principle number 2. Create conditions for language learning. Create a positive atmosphere in class considering physical space, materials, and student integration promotes better learning experiences for English students. A pleasant atmosphere makes students feel comfortable and more confident in participating and expressing themselves in a positive way, which is very essential for learning development. A Additionally, setting high expectation, differentiation, and motivation help learners defend their English language skills. So in this principle, we will learn about setting the good space, or what is the conducive area for our learners to have a better learning experiences and to make them feel comfortable in learning, and also how they can express positively and additional for their learning development. Now, we will proceed in principle number 3. So in this principle number 3, design high quality lessons for language development. We will create meaningful and exceptional lesson plans that develops the student language acquisition in their content learning process. Remain essential so the teacher may engage practice experiences supporting their learning strategies in critical thinking development. According to the 6th principle of Manifesto, gesture, visuals, demonstration, embedded definition, and audio support, and bilingual glossaries make information comprehensible. So in this design or principle number 3, we will develop what is the best learning strategies for the students to have acquisition in language, to support their experiences to have a better learning outcomes, considering the principle introduced by Manifesto, which is the gesture, visual, demonstration, embedded definition, and audio supports, and bilingual glossaries that makes information comprehensible. So this is very good for us to learn how to design high quality lessons for our learners to have a good and effective learning experiences. Now let us talk about principle number 4. It is about adapt lesson delivery as needed. Assessing our students and adapting lesson plans accordingly remains a must. Reflecting on the students' performance and development improves the quality of many English lessons. There are several ways to do so: reteaching content, adapting activities and materials, adjusting instruction and tasks, being flexible with the students' response timely they allow students. So this principle is very important for us as teacher to become so this principle is very important as teacher in order to become more effective teachers, because we will adjusting how effective lessons are going to introduce to our students. We will also assessing the students' response if they learned according to the lessons that we are prepared for them. We also use some materials in adjusting the instruction, maybe because some students cannot learn accordingly in the same time in the same situation that we have to do. Now let us talk principle number 5. Monitor and assess student language development. So this principle will teach us how to monitor our students' development. Outstanding ESL or EFL teachers also monitor and assess students' language development to measure and document progress. English students learn in different ways and speed. Therefore, English teachers should prepare different forms of assessing while providing constructive feedback. So this is very important principle for us to identify whether the learner learned accordingly, because we have to prepare different assessing or assessment form in order to monitor the progress of our learners or students. So by preparing that assessment, we can able to measure the development of our students. So that is why this is very important. Now let us talk about principle 6. engage and collaborative within a community of practice. So this last principle suggests English teachers should collaborate with each other to support their English language learners. Sharing classroom experiences, reflecting critically on teaching practices, following current ELT research, joining and engaging in professional groups, attending academic conferences, and engaging in online learning groups are all ways to be active within a community of practice. This advice might benefit teachers, their co-workers, their students, and institution where we work. So in this principle, it teach us that as an English teacher, we always need to consider to collaborate with the support of our co-learners or co-teacher rather, by sharing what is the classroom setup in teaching English language, what are the practice in teaching the practices of teaching language art, what is the current situation or status of ELT research, and we should always joining us to professional groups where we can talk about the development of our situation in teaching language art. Also, this is very important to attend conferences for us to learn what is the best strategies to apply in teaching language art in order to have an efficient and effective teaching English language art support. So I hope we learned something about the general principle in teaching language art. I also prefer activity. Here is the direction or instruction. You will choose your partner and talk about some learning out about principles and answer the question below by recording a video presentation, a minimum of 3 minutes and 2 to 5 minutes as maximum. It will be graded using this rubric or the criteria. Content 60%, delivery 20%, organization and correct usage 20%, presentation react 10%. This is via online platform only. So I will give you a chance to make a short presentation about your output in this lesson. Supposedly posting your output in our official group page on our social media account. And also in this presentation, I'm allowing you to make your presentation in a creative way so that you can have additional information about 6 principles of teaching arts language. And I hope you will give an example that will also enable to connect and relate to our discussion about the teaching language art, particularly in elementary level. So we will see if the presentation is anchored with a discussion given, and by next time we will talk about the next lesson. We will also guided with our course syllabi so that you can able to have an advanced study, and I include also here the reference that we used, and hopefully we will continue our lesson by next time. Thank you.